Welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive into something pretty unsettling. We're looking at how social exclusion, real malice, often hides behind the language of fairness.
It's a kind of moral masquerade, and we're starting with a finding from our sources that is just. It's completely backward.
Yeah.
We looked at students with special needs, say on the autism spectrum, or with ADHD who get extra support in school.
Okay, so you'd expect that to help them, right?
You think so? But the shocking paradox is that providing these accommodations often makes the pure malice, the exclusion, so much more intense.
Wait, hold on. That makes no sense. Why would giving a student a resource room or, fewer questions on a test make things worse for them socially?
It's all about how the peer group reads the situation. They don't see it as a necessary support for, say, a neurological challenge.
They just see the special treatment.
They see it purely as an unfair privilege. The support makes the difference concrete. It's not just that a student is different. Now they have proof they're getting something others aren't.
So the bullying gets a moral upgrade.
Yeah.
It stops being you're weird and it becomes you're a cheater.
Exactly. The attacker isn't just a bully anymore. In their mind, and in the group's mind, they're a defender of justice.
They're fighting for fairness.
The whole argument shifts to, by what right do you get this special treatment? And that moral angle makes the aggression feel, validated.
The sources have this really powerful analogy for this, the crutch analogy.
Yeah, it paints a very clear picture. Imagine a race. One student has a hidden injury, their disability. The school gives them a crutch to help them keep up.
That's the support.
Right. But the other runners, they don't see the injury. They can't. All they see is the crutch, this prop. And they get furious. They think it's an unfair tool to win the race.
And they attack the crutch.
They attack the crutch to restore what they see as fairness.
And this must put adults, teachers, in an impossible position. If you punish a kid's demanding fairness, you look like you're the one who's being unfair.
You do. And it just reinforces the group's belief that the system is biased and that this one student really is a privileged outsider.
Okay, so this is where it gets really dark. This pattern, this mechanism, it doesn't just go away after graduation.
No, it just gets colder. It becomes what the sources call the ice-cold prototype of adult social exclusion.
So we're moving from, like, the hot weapon warfare of the schoolyard, a shove in the hall, to something more like invisible radiation.
An elegant isolation. It's not overt. It's the invitations that just stop. The key email chains you're mysteriously left off of.
And our sources say this ties directly into things like socioeconomic status, right? This hierarchical exclusion.
Very closely. If you stray from the expected path, maybe you're unmarried or you chose a less lucrative career, a sort of transparent wall can go up.
And that wall is built on social capital.
Exactly. If you don't have enough of that capital, the money, the network, the successful career, to sort of validate your different choices,
then those choices get reframed. They're not just choices anymore.
they get redefined by the group as defects or failures, and that redefinition becomes the quiet justification for pushing you out.
It's the perfect crime. No one ever does anything overtly hostile you can point to. The door just quietly closes.
It's a social death by 1,000 cuts, and no single person holds the knife.
So let's shift to the why. What is driving the aggressor here? The sources are clear. It's not actually about hating the other person.
Not primarily, no. It's about the aggressor's own deep-seated need for safety, for control, and for identity.
They need to confirm their own place in the normal group.
Precisely. And the easiest way to confirm you're on the inside is to clearly define who is on the outside. It's a pure power display.
Like that example in the source of the bully who picks a fight over something that happened a year ago.
Yes, the excuse, "you bumped me," was completely random. The point wasn't the reason.
The point was, I decide when and why violence happens. You have no say.
It's about establishing total control. And that brings us to this final, chilling analogy the sources use to explain the psychology.
The one about the cliff.
The aggressor is standing on the edge of cliff, terrified of falling off into social irrelevance, of being other.
And so they find the person next to them who seems the most unstable.
And they push them. Not from hatred, but because by watching that person fall, they confirm for themselves that they are still standing, still safe.
Wow. So the whole structure is just tragic. The most vulnerable are targeted for being different, and then they're punished again for the very support they get to cope with that difference.
And that cycle just hardens and refines itself into the adult world.
Which leaves us with a pretty provocative thought for you to take away.
If adult social exclusion is really just the ice-cold prototype of what starts in the schoolyard, what is the survival rule we're all learning and teaching when we stay silent in the face of this kind of civilized malice?